Thank you for spending your valuable time with me, Dr. Nancy Brandt, the pioneering veterinarian in veterinary medical aromatherapy. Quality matters, especially when it comes to pets. In today's internet of finding everything at our fingertips, how can we dig deep into the information overload and become treasure hunters? Finding gems of truth amongst all the for-profit marketing. With the Dig Deep method, you really are digging for hidden treasure in the search engine optimized internet world. How many of you stop at the first page of a Google search? How many of you read the headline on social media posts and then extrapolate meaning from just that surface detail? I choose to take you on a journey toward becoming a critical thinker and asking the question, does this make sense? No longer be misled into a rabbit hole of sensationalized for-profit news headlines ever again. Use the 10 steps in the Dig Deep method to increase and enhance even more the power of your common sense and critical thinking. The 10 steps in the Dig Deep method will be covered one at a time. Step 1. Do you have the full story? Do you understand the details? Are you educated and have experience with what is being said? Are they speaking your language? For example, stock reporting for me is like somebody speaking French. And for other folks, confusion may be just watching Grey's Anatomy with all of that medical language becoming just background noise until we get to the juicy parts. And for me, the medicine can be educational at times, and other times it is simply just wrong. Step 1 can be the really big question. This can be the question that throws that news article or blog post into the recycle pile. The closer you are to the full story, the better the picture of what really is happening. I call this part collecting the puzzle pieces. A puzzle will reveal a picture or a story. Without all the pieces, we often draw a conclusion that is untrue. Sensational headlines draw the reader in. Fear tactics keep us reading. And of course, reading leads to more hits and ratings, which lead to more sponsorship. Many will monetize your terror. Are you being duped into reading a very skewed view? Are you taking valuable energy and emotion and being led down a rabbit hole to see only one piece of the puzzle? Just ask, do I have the full, unbiased story? Is this the truth? Step 2. What essential oils specifically were used? Did they use cheap imitations or biologically active essential oils? Let's scrutinize the materials used in this story or study. This is a buyer beware world. I was told a story by a man who has traveled worldwide in his field. What he discovered was that some herbal products for export were found to be composed of brick dust only. Ask these questions. Is the botanical name clear, like lavender versus Lavandula angustifolia? Is there a batch number present for the distillation? In which region was the plant grown? Helichrysum from Washington State rather than Croatia will not be the same plant. What method of distillation was used? What are the standards of good manufacturing practices and quality control that are in place? What tests were performed to assure the oils are natural and not synthetic? Find your trusted supplier dedicated to the highest of standards for good manufacturing practices and quality control. Most research studies are conducted on synthetic essential oils because they have a consistency of chemistry, whereas natural plants can vary with different environmental conditions. Biologically active essential oils will vary in color, consistency, and even aromas. This is why asking about testing and the type of essential oil used is vital, so we can compare the same items. Saying lavender killed my cat means nothing until we can dig deep enough to realize lavender was not the only thing in the bottle. It may have been laden with adulterants such as hexane. It was likely not even Lavandula angustifolia, but in fact was Lavandin, which is high in menthol, an entirely different chemistry, which leads to an entirely different set of reactions. Step 3. What techniques were employed? What methods were used for application of the essential oil? In some studies, upwards of 5 to 15 mLs of undiluted essential oil was given to rats by ingestion before any reported side effects resulted. In research, we have to eliminate as many variables as possible. Sometimes the researcher does not even realize they purchased an adulterated essential oil or have unforeseen tag-alongs. Impurities in the air, diluents, or on the skin of the animal will combine with essential oils and cause an entirely different chemical reaction, just like combining certain pharmaceuticals can be fatal. The questions to ask are, how much oil was used? How frequent were the animals dosed, every day or for how long? Was the application neat or diluted? Was the diluent pure, and which one was it? Were there any tag-alongs or impurities that may have accounted for the unforeseen reactions? Did they in fact control the variables? I've offered many private lectures for 20 years now in veterinary medical aromatherapy. I therefore have had opportunities to hear many stories of essential oil use above and beyond those in my clinical studies. Many years ago, I had a lady contact me for answers about her birds. She had been diffusing oils for 5 days in Buffalo, New York during winter. To find out what happened to cause her birds to die, yes, I said die, I had to dig deep collecting puzzle pieces to get some answers. What I found is this. She had diffused for 5 days straight, no break. The diffuser type used was the atomizing type, so the oil was not diluted with water like ultrasonic diffusers do. She had used 105 mLs of a proprietary essential oil blend that is highly antimicrobial and in the aromatherapy world is used with less frequency and concentration normally. It was, however, a highly biologically active essential oil and very pure. Her home was 750 square feet and sealed up for the cold Buffalo, New York winter. Her home was very dirty and had mold. It is why she was diffusing so much. She would leave often during the diffusing to run errands and, as she said, get a breath of fresh air. Her first bird died on the 5th night. She lost 4 birds varying in age from 5 to 56. It was truly tragic to lose 4 of her closest family members. My heart reached out and hugged this grieving mother. 1 necropsy was performed at my request. The bird's lungs were full of a black tar. The vet felt the essential oils were the cause. Upon analysis of and researching this case for her, I learned so much about impurities in the air being gobbled up by the essential oils and then dropping onto the surfaces thus purifying the air. But in the case of the birds, this residue manifested as the tar in their lungs. Remember, birds are small. They have a sensitive respiratory system, and they had no way to move away from the soot resulting from the combination of many misguided techniques used here. Just like the canary in the coal mine, the birds suffered from poor technique. What are the logical questions to ask? Did they use inhalation, ingestion, or topical applications? What else could it be? Was there an escape route from the diffusing? Often the cause of the side effect is the technique used, not the essential oil. It would compare to being given a drug and told to take one pill every 12 hours for 3 weeks. That is a total of 42 pills. Instead, you use a different technique and think it is quicker to ingest the whole bottle at once, and you overdose and get very sick or die. When poor technique meets poor quality essential oils, we now have too many variables to blame the essential oils. In fact, to label the oil 100% pure, all they have to do is put 1% pure in the bottle. Please be alert and aware, educate yourself, and consult a trained veterinarian in veterinary medical aromatherapy. Step 4. What treatments and diagnostics were used for the reported symptoms? What and who did the treatments and diagnostics used for the reported symptoms, illness, or death? The bird's necropsy was very telling, especially analysis of the tarry substance, showing no components of the essential oil. Ask, how did they prove it was indeed the essential oils as the only cause? Cause and effect, or if this, then that, is not always a correlated truth. If I drink this water and then I sneeze, achoo, was the water at cause? How would I know? Well, simply drink water with no variables repeatedly and measure how many times you sneeze. Analyze the data to see if there is a statistically relevant correlation. And in most people, you'll realize water does not cause them to sneeze, so likely the two are not related. There was another cause of the sneeze. The puzzle piece left out of this story is that I had just bit into a cracker with a whole lot of pepper, and I was taking a drink of water to wash it down. Now, what may have been more likely at cause for the sneeze? The pepper, of course. Ask, what were the symptoms of the intoxication? Was the veterinarian educated on essential oil toxicity? Like in the bird story, the black tar had no essential oil components in it. VMAA.vet is doing constant outreach to educate the public and animal caregivers who want to get to the truth. How I diffuse for all animals, and especially birds, changed a lot after this incident. I developed my protocols to be both safe and effective. More controlled studies are needed. In Robert Tisserand's and Rodney Young's book, Essential Oil Safety, they cite many studies that substantiate the safety of essential oils. Essential oil safety is covered in more detail in the veterinary medical aromatherapy courses and may be a subject of another video at some time. Step 5. Was there a true correlation drawn? How did they prove it was the essential oil that was at cause? This really follows up on Step 4's data collection and is asking the question, what was used to suppose their hypothesis that the essential oils were the cause of the effect, i.e. the symptoms, the illness, or the death? They rushed to a conclusion. Were the oils the primary cause? Were the oils a contributory cause, like in the birds, or were the essential oils part of an unsubstantiated unsubstantiated cause and effect claim, like the water causing sneezing. Many incident reporting databases are unsubstantiated claims. Case study after case study in my practice only leads to the need to do further research. Clinical studies and double-blinded studies are needed, using exquisite scientific method, eliminating variables, and drawing true conclusions of safe and effective veterinary medical aromatherapy is key. Dr. Pierre Francombe, at our last shared speaking engagement, spoke of research on the batch number of an essential oil. Some reported effects are tied to a very specific batch of essential oils only. Just another reason to trust who you purchase essential oils from. We have to look for double standards, like all oils are bad because of one incident, or this oil will cure it all based on one testimonial. We have to develop evidence-based standards of safe and effective use of veterinary medical aromatherapy in animals. Is the research valid backing up our claims, or is there a bias? VMAA.vet endeavors to do this treasure hunting methodically. Money and ethics are the limiting factors at this time. Money's needed to finance the studies, and animals becoming imprisoned to do the research is my moral limitation. I was asked to do a study in cats to find the LD50 of tea tree oil. The LD50 stands for the lethal dose 50% of the time. To design this study, I would have to get 80 cats from the shelter as alike physiologically as possible, then dose them with melaleuca, enough to kill 50% of the cats, and possibly harming the others. Then I perform a necropsy on all 80 cats. Yes, kill them all, and then prove the essential oil was the causal agent in all the deaths. I could not be part of this type of research. This is not my path. This is the development of evidence-based standards of safe and effective medical use. This is easy to do in a pharmacological research study, which are currently the recognized research models for evidence-based. Many, many animals are sacrificed for this work. Surely we can find a better way. I did not take part in this project. Instead, I found some references to the LD50 of essential oils in children and extrapolated that data to use for cats. The aching question in my heart, though, is did 50% of the children have to die to find that LD50? Or was the data extrapolated from rat experiments? What do you think the answer is? Step 6. What experts were consulted? Are they qualified? Who are the experts that were consulted? What affiliations might they be speaking for? Were they even named? Sometimes it will just say experts said. What qualifications do they have to speak to this specialized field of veterinary medical aromatherapy? Were they involved in the case or called in as an outside expert? Many times the experts never even heard of the case or looked over any of the puzzle pieces. Then they are really giving you their opinion. Veterinary medical aromatherapy is not routinely taught. Currently, the VMAA has the only race-approved course for training in veterinary medical aromatherapy. Many times opinion, belief, speculation, and bias are presented as education and true information. What is the true intent of this story, article, or news segment? Is this misinformation or miseducation? Become truth seekers, not opinion collectors. Step 7. Are there any references used to back up what they believe? Do not take on a belief without digging deeper. Find the real treasure. Do not settle for less. Who educated them? Who educated their educators? Did they include references? Can you find the references? And will they share their data? Research papers were developed as a way to share data and findings in an effort to further other research. They were never, I repeat, never seen to be proof of efficacy or safety like they are being used in evidence-based medicine. It is time to fix the system of proof and truth. What data influenced them to have this belief? One case, many cases? In good scientific method, we eliminate observer biases as much as possible. Yet bias is inherent just in formulating a belief, in this case, the expert. Let's look at bias and the observer principle of quantum mechanics. We're going to use this example. Look around your surroundings right now and listen to my instructions. Find and count all the red objects in your line of sight. All the red, just red. Add up all the red, 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 red. Now, look at your computer screen, and while keeping your eyes on me only, tell me how much green there was in your sight line. No, keep your eyes fixed on me, on your computer screen. How much green was in your sight line? How many of you only noticed red in this exercise? Be truthful. Why did we see red and not notice green in this exercise? Because I gave you a bias in the beginning of looking for red. This means the observer, you, activated your RAS, or reticulating activating system, in your brain to filter for red only. This is a survival level program in your brain designed to look for the bias or the danger. When we set a hypothesis, we set a bias right from the beginning. If you believe the treatment will work, you are right. If you believe the treatment will not work, you are also right. Whatever you believe to be true is what your RAS will search for. It is always a matter of perspective. Seeing an outcome, deciding what to blame, or coming to conclusions about the data may be fraught with bias. If you are looking for pugs in this puzzle, when the pieces come together to form a pug, you stop and formulate a conclusion that the puzzle is all about pugs. Just like when you looked for red, you did not notice the rest of the data in your sight line. This is bias. In the case of this puzzle, you would have missed the rest of the data or picture or puzzle pieces and drawn the wrong conclusion for the picture. The observer principle of quantum physics skews the research in favor of the hypothesis. Of course, this is only my belief and my hypothesis. Step 8. Did you dig deep into the actual studies cited? The regulatory organizations like the FDA demand scientific proof before we can make claims of safety or efficacy. Ask if the study is scientifically verifiable, what scientific method was applied to the study. Learn how to dig into research and pull out the valid treasures. Don't allow a double standard to exist. One case equals bad or good. Step 9. What type of study was used to substantiate their claim? Incident reports and/or meta-studies may or may not be verified for the same variables. When it comes to essential oils, the researcher may not know what to look for, like red versus green. Comparing apples to oranges and grouping them together frequently happens and skews the reporting conclusions. Not all essential oils and techniques and research studies are created equally. Therefore, the grouped studies like poison control incident reports or even meta-studies for evaluating many research papers may not validate or invalidate essential oil use. They may not have taken into account all the variables inherent in this type of research. It would be like postulating all antibiotics are bad because many people vomit after taking antibiotics. This is not true for all antibiotics. Instead, each individual antibiotic should be reported on its own merit. Some antibiotics are safer than others, and some are more likely to cause side effects. We then have to break each of those individual antibiotic studies down into the different age or physiological condition of the individuals taking them, and so on and so forth, until we are actually comparing apples to apples and accounting for all the variabilities. The more specific we are, the more truth that is unearthed. Avoid all or none statements. Step 10, relax, dig deep, educate yourself, and use precision. Become a critical thinker. Learn to use the precision model. Richard Bandler and John Grinder, as a way to add new resources and references to limiting perceptions or situations, developed the precision model. The precision model leads to digging deeper and can cause someone to reevaluate their bias. The most important question to ask is, what else could this be or mean? Remember to let your pet participate in its own rescue. Learn more in the veterinary medical aromatherapy courses. Tune in to our upcoming videos on how to choose an essential oil for your pet and using the precision model in digging deeper. Educate yourself. Go to safeforanimals.com to find many free videos, my books, and the VMA, Veterinary Medical Aromatherapy courses. Go to vmaa.vet to join the cause and the organization setting the standards for safe and effective use of veterinary medical aromatherapy. Thank you so much again for spending your time and energy with me, Dr. Nancy Brandt, and digging deep into your own belief systems to find new treasures. Sophie and I are signing off. Thank you.